Good morning, everyone. This is Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and we are back for another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. So, I like to dive right on in. So, the first thing I want to talk to y'all about this morning is DHS has extended or announced an extension and redesignation of TPS for individuals from Burma. So they will be granted TPS for 18 months beginning November 26, 2022. So November 26th of this year through May 25th of 2024. So they have published instructions for us, and that is already up and running. So if you are from Burma and you are looking to redesignate your TPS status, feel free to reach out to us, but just wanted to let you know it has been redesignated for 18 months, November 26, 2022 to May 25th, 2024. The next thing I want to talk to y'all about are just some local USCIS office happenings, what's going on in some of the local offices. It's occurring in more than one office, so I figured it was time to let you know what was happening. So one of the things we're seeing at some local offices across the country are interviews occurring at the ASC centers. And so the ASC centers generally are just for biometrics, but immigration is trying their best to work through the backlogs. So they are now scheduling interviews at some of the biometric centers across the country. What that means is you will still get your regular receipt notice, but the address that it instructs you to go to will not be your local USCIS office, but it will be your local ASC office where you got your fingerprints and your photograph taken. Upon arrival at your ASC center, what we are hearing is that you are then interviewed by an officer who is remote. So you may be on a computer screen, you may be on a TV screen, you may be on an iPad screen, having your interview with a remote USCIS officer. So it is not an error in the location if you recognize the location and the address on your interview notice as your ASC center. There are some local offices that are using the ASC centers in order to help them get through the backlog. The other thing we are seeing, or I should say that we are still seeing in local offices, is virtual interviews. So you arrive at your local office for your interview, not necessarily the ASC office, but you arrive at your regular local office. And depending on what application you are being interviewed for, you may have been at your local office before. So you arrive at your local office, but this time your interview is not being done necessarily by an officer who is physically present in that office. This officer could be in another USCIS office, and you will have a virtual interview in that case as well. We have also seen a slight uptick in interviews being waived for some family-based cases. So I always tell my clients, we're going to prepare for you to have an interview. If we don't get an interview, that's great. In some cases, the Immigration Service is getting all of their questions answered through the RFE process. So it's all done in writing. But not having an interview is certainly not guaranteed. So definitely prepare for an interview. But don't be surprised because we have seen an uptick in cases that have not been interviewed but have still been approved. And those we are typically seeing with marriage-based cases. The other thing that we are seeing coming out of our local offices are RFEs, so requests for further evidence. Those are coming from, and they are dated, they have the address is from a local office that is not where your application is currently pending. It's not that, it's not your closest USCIS office. That is okay. It is not a mistake. Immigration is enlisting officers outside of your local jurisdiction to process your application. If that officer in a different jurisdiction has a question because they're working on your file, they will issue you a request for further evidence. But their local office address will be where what you will see on the on your RFE, and where you will return the information to. So it's super important that if you get an RFE, that you want to make sure that you are, one, responding timely, and two, that you are sending it back to the proper address. But don't get freaked out if the address is different on the RFE than your individual local office. These things are all in place to help the Immigration Service get through the backlog. So I just didn't want y'all to be confused if you are having virtual interviews, or you're being called into the ASC center and you may have thought that that was an error. It is, in fact, immigration trying their best to sort through the backlog. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about are green card extensions. When we are extending our green card, we're talking about the green cards that are valid for 10 years. Immigration has recently announced that it has automatically extended the validity of permanent resident cards, otherwise known as your green cards, to 24 months, which is up from 12 months for lawful permanent residents. This is when you file your application to get a new green card timely. So when you have filed your Form I-90 to replace your green card, once you do that, the Immigration Service is automatically extending your green card validity for 24 months. They are, in fact, printing new receipt notices for individuals to show that their cards have been extended for 24 months. That will help individuals who are looking for new employment and looking for proof that they are permanent residents here in the United States. The next thing I want to talk about takes us before you get your green card. So if you are applying to get your permanent residence and you have filed your adjustment of status application because you are here in the United States, one of the things you need to file with that application is a medical form. There's a medical report from a civil surgeon that has been certified and approved by the Immigration Service. The general rule is that medical report must be dated, or must be signed and dated by that civil surgeon within 60 days of you filing. And then when that happens, that medical report is valid for now 2 years. Well, given the backlogs that the Immigration Service is currently experiencing, back in early December 9 of 2021, the Immigration Service has waived the 60-day requirement. And so that was a temporary measure. That measure was supposed to end September 30th of this year. They have now extended this waiver, this flexibility, to March 31st of 2023. So currently we have until March 31st of 2023, if you are submitting your medical report along with your adjustment of status application because you are applying for a green card and you are here in the United States, your medical does not need to be dated within 60 days before you file. So this is another mechanism that the government is using to get through their backlog. So it is helping the government get through their backlog, which is certainly a benefit to us and our clients. It is a benefit to the client in that they're not running around trying to get the medical done, because a lot of doctors now have fewer appointments on their calendars because of social distancing, because of the pandemic. So clients have found it harder to get into the doctor, into the civil surgeon, just to get the medical done. So the USCIS recognized that, both sides really needed a little bit more flexibility on that. So we have that. So again, the 60-day requirement of having your medical signed by the civil surgeon is currently being waived through March 31st of 2023. So March 31st of next year. So that is all I have for us this fine Monday morning. If you have any questions about your immigration status, your immigration case, and you want to sort through that with our office, feel free to give us a call at Williams Immigration, and we can be reached at 954-903-1337. Have a great Monday and a wonderful rest of your week. And